007. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Fort Chip taping of Leadership Boot Camp. This is our final session. And before we go any further, Connie, I know you're stuck in Fort McMurray, but we're all here. You can pan the group, and we all just love you very much. And you don't have to feel bad, and you don't have to feel guilty about not being here. Come on back to me real quick there, 007. But I will say this. I will say that you've been an incredible joy to have in the program. Your commitment and your authenticity and your sincerity have really touched me, and I know the other participants. And the work that you're doing in the community. You have said that this motivated you and helped you. I don't know about that, but I know this. I know that the work that you're doing is making a difference in the community, and so we appreciate it. And unfortunately, because you're not here, you don't get to graduate. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's not true. But we'll send you, just like all of you that are watching via the archive, we'll send you your certificates via email. And we'll hope to see you another time. Okay, so the purpose of tonight is to kind of bring this thing to a close. We do have some certificates that we'll give out. We also have a final exercise that what's that? Oh, Marion. That's right. Thank you. And Marion, you, young lady, flying off to Ontario, leaving us all here. I can't believe you did that. But I know this. I know that because of your hard work and effort, we were able to use Keanu College. You always set it up for us. You are an incredible host, and we hope that you'll be back when the school year starts again. But while you're in Ontario, just know that we're thinking of you, and I think all of us will join me in a round of applause in thanking you for all that you did to make the program awesome. So let's give Marion a round of applause. Awesome. Thank you. And I hope you're enjoying Ontario. And I'll email you your certificate. Okay. So the point of tonight is to bring closure. But we do have a final assignment that we'll give you in a little bit here. And that final assignment you'll have till the balance of our time. Because if you think of it technically, this is 2 weeks. We're at 2 weeks, and we got one more week to go. So really, the program's not over till next week, next Friday. But we wanted to come together, and instead of doing a coaching session like we normally would online, we decided that we would do it face-to-face. We have some guests that are visiting us, some guests from the community that are with us, and some guests from outside of the community. I'm going to have the guests from outside of the community introduce themselves very quickly, and then we can introduce the guests from in the community.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to come. This is a true privilege. I've never been to Fort Chip before. I've done some work with Cookie Simpson from the Unreserved Shelter, and I've come to know and really love her. And so to be in her community is truly a joy. I'm officially a manager of change and employee education for the region of Wood Buffalo. I'm really new. I've been in Fort McMurray 4 weeks, and prior to that, I had been there 1 day. So I'm really new. I'm a new resident. Love every moment, minus the power that went out at 10 to 7 this morning when I was doing my hair and makeup, and the flooding and all the stuff going on. But it's wonderful, and you've got a beautiful community and a well-kept secret. So I promise not to tell people, but it's so wonderful up here.
And that was awesome, but tell everybody your name.
Oh, did I? Okay, my name. I'm Roxanne.
There you go.
And they all met me. So
Oh, you did? Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. Very good. And very, very exciting that the region has brought Roxanne on board to help, anytime an organization, and we've all talked about this, or a community rapidly grows, then you've got to go back and put infrastructure in place. And in the case of what she does, the infrastructure are the processes and you'll know this word, systems for the development of people, and a continuum for the development of people, and the establishment of an organizational culture. So for those of you that actually work for the region that are here today, you can take great comfort in knowing that people are wise enough to realize that they need to have someone like her on board to take and put that structure in place for not only your growth and development, but the creation of an ongoing culture. So that's awesome.
Hi, I'm Diane, and if you promise not to make a stereotype out of me, I'll tell you where I live. I live in Toronto. This will be, I counted it up today, my 6th trip to Fort McMurray. especially Fort McMurray, because my goodness, what an opportunity to build something that the rest of the world can learn from. It's a very unique opportunity to be in this province and to be in both Fort McMurray and Fort Chipewyan, because it is an amazing opportunity for the future. So I think I'm just plain lucky to have been included today. And thank you. Thank you for your welcoming so easily somebody who doesn't like to be known as she comes from there.
Very good. And I think we have a guest joining us from the community, if someone wants to do an introduction.
It's my mom. I told her I'm getting my certificate today, and I told her we're doing the boys' regalia down at the hall, and I told her, come on, Mom, you gotta come support me. I get a certificate today for leadership boot camp. I talked about it for how long? So my mother's here.
Well, welcome. We're all excited to have you here. And as I said to you earlier, but I'll say it in front of the group, you've done an outstanding job of raising a fine daughter. And certainly a great reflection of you and your family. And she has just shown herself to be an outstanding human being. And we know that obviously, a lot of that comes from her mother. So I'm sure you're an awesome lady as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. A round of applause, a nice welcoming for her. Yep. Okay, so before we go to certificates and final, usually these coaching sessions are about questions and dialogue and talking some things out. So somebody, what did you take away from our last time together or over this last couple days since we were just together a very short time ago? But something that you took away from that, or generally speaking, as you look through the 15 weeks, or I guess it's 13 and a half weeks, what did you take away? What are you walking away with? Why was this of value to you? Or tell me something that touched you or changed you. What are you taking away from 13 and a half weeks of your life that we shared together?
One person can make a difference.
And what does that mean? So you say one person can make a difference. Unpack that a little bit for me and everybody else.
You don't need to be alone, but you can find like-minded people. But now I have the confidence that I have the tools and the wherewithal to take an idea and expand on it and build on it, not just say, oh, I wish someone would. Now I can say, well, I bet you we could. I know we can. We have, it's done.
Very good.
And before all this started, yeah, there was lots of things you wanted to do, but you were never really sure how you were going to get from A to D. Now, there's resources, and I know what those resources are, and I know where the resources are in the community, and there's like-minded people that I've dealt with in this 13 and a half weeks, and we all share a common goal. And that's to make our community better, not just for each other and our families, but for everybody else. And now we can do that.
And are doing it. You guys have already started to take steps to that. Somebody else, something that you are taking away either from the last couple of weeks as we talked about this whole concept of continuous improvement and the engagement approach to planning, or broader than that, the 13 and a half weeks. Yes.
Huge pride. From the time we learned about pride. Like for me, I take pride in myself. I've been sober over 3 years. And where I've come to where I am today, just like Lori, she told me, Tanya, I'm so glad you got sick. And then I told her, Mom, what do you mean? Because I'm a diabetic. And she said, because if you would have never got sick, you wouldn't be out here speaking the truth, trying to help the community, the youth, the kids. And I said, I never looked at it like that until she told me. You know what? She said, from who you were to where you are today, that's why when it was pride, you have to take pride within yourself first. Then your home, like my home, my house, my kids, I'm taking pride in what they do. Like Nathan's a jingle dancer. Alex making boy regalia for a traditional dancer right now. And I'm teaching him, take pride in being a dancer, being native, being here in Fort Chip, and you have these goals and dreams. And my older kids, I'm telling them the same thing too. And that's my whole, now, like when the girls asked me to be on the community pride, and I was like, oh yeah! I was like, now I get to come out and help the community, help the youth, because I sit on the Lake Athabasca Youth Council too, right?
Right.
The kids, plus I'm on the PTA, plus I'm like, now I'm on the community pride, so it's dealing with kids and youth, and even with the girls regalia, because there is a dance group, if there were spirit dancers, and these are the youth, these are the girls of this community, so it's like, I get to move now my little ripple effect to the community. And that's why I say you have to take pride in yourself and everything that you've accomplished to this day. Everything is meant to be where you are. It is meant to be, whether good, bad, it got you to be that much stronger to be walking here today. And I take pride in Fort Chip. I'm not from Fort Chip. I'm from Edmonton. And I've been here for 28 years. Now I can say, you know what? I take pride in Fort Chip. It's God's country. You can see the beauty. And we're surrounded by rock, which represents strength. And I know that why I'm here is to help the youth, the kids to grow and appreciate Fort Chip. And that's why, I'm so glad these ladies. I love these girls. That's why.
Thank you. Thank you. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, we've been talking about the strategies, the very specific strategies to the cultivation, installation, and deployment of pride as a performance management strategy, but also a community development strategy, economic development strategy, social strategy. How do you use it as a force, a magic force we talked about? All right, somebody else. Thank you very much for that. Somebody else. What are you taking away? What are you leaving the journey with? Everyone's looking at each other. Don't make eye contact with Ian. Don't make eye contact with Ian. Don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact with Ian because he might call on me. Ah! God, please think of something pithy. Something pithy. Quick.
That's like when you're in the elevator. You always want to talk to someone because it just throws them off.
Exactly.
One of them.
See? Every time you learn a new thing about God. You know?
He's always got something, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'm shy, really. Yeah, sure.
Somebody else. What are you taking away? Yes.
Pride was a big one for me too, and as I'm doing stuff, I think about pride. The community's starting to clean up, even looking after my own lawn and helping my neighbor who has more trouble, taking pride in what is right here around me. Talking to kids about pride at the pool hall, hanging out. And just a different mindset as a leader of what can I give to you versus what can I get from you. Like real loss. And actually I had a situation today and the staff member, and it was a negative situation, and one of my coworkers I'm quite close to said, tell me who was involved. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing that. Does you no good? Does anybody else? Well, you're being a leader of a different sort. She said, thank you.
That's a big compliment, right?
Because I chose to do the right thing, because I thought about what can I get or what can I do to make this better, and my mouth being shut was the best thing I could do at that time.
That's awesome.
So pride and leadership in a different way.
Do any of you find yourselves in that same situation where a past behavior, remember 80% of my behavior is unconscious, right? We all learned that. 80% of my behavior is unconscious. The only way to change those unconscious behaviors is to put in at least 21 days of focused effort. If the world around us has changed, which we all agreed that it has, in some real and profound ways, then it's a simple assumption to know that the ways that I approached things in the past probably won't be applicable today. Not because I'm bad or I need remedial training, just because things have changed. Do any of you find yourself in the same circumstance where you catch yourself and say, I need to do it a little bit different? If anybody want to share how that is or what that is?
Well, that just happens
serious. And then another friend said, what's going on? Tell me. And I'm like, it's not any of your business. You know, this is my friend. I can't be like, oh, well, this is going on in her life. Like, I thought about it, and then I was like, yeah, like before I probably would have been, oh, well, she's going through a hard time right now, like give the details, but then I caught myself thinking about it, and that actually happened too, and now that I'm thinking about it, I did catch myself and like, thought about the end result and what the good and bad of it, I guess. And yeah, I stopped myself from it. Yeah, you catch yourself now, like you notice little things.
A couple of specific questions, just for my own information. Somebody tell me how you looked at time before we began and how you look at time now.
She never really thought about these things before. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Life happened.
Yeah.
Work happened.
You catch yourself.
Doing laundry this weekend, I thought of you and time. I'm sorry.
Okay, and so unpack that a little bit.
My husband wears T-shirts, and they have to get hung up. And so I was like, okay, why am I double handling these? I fold them neatly downstairs so they don't get wrinkled. Then I come upstairs and put them on the hanger. What the heck? I'm wasting time. Ian would say that's a waste of time, so take the hangers downstairs with you, put them on the hanger, and be done with the stupid thing.
Now we all
That's a really simple.
we all laugh at that, but the fact that from a systems mindset, she can look at the operational efficiency of the folding of clothes and the putting away of clothes. She, because of a systems mindset, improved the proficiency and the effectiveness and efficiency, right? All of hanging a T-shirt.
Well, you see, a guy would make that even more efficient. Just take it and stuff them in the drawer.
But, Sergeant, it's the fine balance between efficiency and quality product, right? You gotta... Pride! Come on! Pride!
Okay, you want efficiency? Well, fella, the dishwasher. When you're single, you set up the dishwasher, put pots on one side, plates on the other, throw the pots on the counter. Take a dish out when you need it, when it's done, put it in the dirty side. When the dishes get transferred, throw the pots and start it up.
That's right.
Never put the dishes away.
All single men know that right there. Why double handle that dish? Okay, now in all sincerity, when we talked about systems, what was, somebody give me the underlying premise of this whole conversation is around big picture, holistic systems thinking. What was the underlying premise that I was trying to get across? And we showed you various systems, right? So we showed you a system on the maximizing utilization of your time, system of delegation, a system for effective communication, a system for moving another human being into action. We gave you multiple systems, but in giving you multiple systems, what were we trying to teach? Specific systems or something else?
A competency to look at things and tell which is the best one for the given situation. Yeah, tools to do.
So what you just said is right on track. So to get you, yes, to get you to think from a system standpoint. So for your vision of this community to thrive, we must take a systems approach. Too often times we're taking and attacking slivers of systems. Remember we talked about that? Instead of looking at the whole thing. Maybe we could talk about in Fort McMurray, we could talk about how someone new comes to the community. Whether they were new from Newfoundland or new from Mumbai. How do they come to the community? How do they find their way in the community? How do they get a job in the community? If we can make that system, remember what's a system? It's a group of parts that are in alignment, deeply aligned for a specific task. Well, imagine if we could just get a little bit more efficient or effective. And what normally would take a person 9 months, we could take 6 or 5. You have a heart for kids. You want something great for the kids and the youth of your community, as many of you do. Then it's about the systems of the community. So as much as we laugh about the T-shirt thing, I now can leave here knowing that you're going to start taking a systems look around the community. How are we building the citizen of tomorrow? How are we integrating the various parts of the community that build the citizen of tomorrow from a spiritual standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from an educational standpoint, bringing into alignment all those various systems. See, the beauty of what you just said is we will see exponential impact as you become more and more of a systems thinker. I'm not going to change the world individually, but I can handle my little corner. None of us are individually going to change the whole big bad world, but we can handle our little corner. The collective impact of all of you being systems thinkers in the community, which means will mean that we will create bigger and we'll create better systems, and better systems have exponential impact. All right, somebody else, something you're taking. Maybe when we talked about being an agent of change, what did you take away from changing yourself or helping implement change with and through others? Something you took from that 3 weeks. Agent of change. Somebody else, something you took from that time together. Now, what's tough is that was a long time ago. That's 12 weeks ago. Something you took away from that time. Agent of change. Implementing change. Somebody's got to talk. She's going through her notes. No, come on. You got your notebook open there. Tell me something you took. You got your notebook open.
Oh, I'm still finding the spot. It's your turn.
Well, Lori's looking for it.
Yep.
This is Leonard Platt, community member
Hi, Leonard.
from
How are you?
ACFM.
Hello, sir.
And he is a resource work-in, work-out, but he is an extremely good artist. And he's working on the steering committee to help mobilize the community and to develop a tourism, ecotourism association for Fort Chipewyan.
Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to come.
I just came here to pick up something, so I was happy to listen in.
That's
Awesome.
what I brought.
Very
I
good.
was going to see if you can make them.
Very good.
We know we can.
That's right. Well, thank you for being here. Stopping by.
We can make that.
He's going to make more of them, though.
He's probably the better version. His own version. The Leonard Platt pork chip. Right?
Would you like something to eat? There's supper right around the corner in there. Sandwich, soup. Okay. Okay, somebody from Agent of Change. What do you got? Come on. And Lori, everyone's looking to you because you're the only one that brought their binder. Somebody brought. Oh no, because nobody else brought their binder. I should demerit all of you.
Even if we look at our day-to-day work and ask ourselves, is this the best way to do it? Something that simple.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So,
We've all done it. I know I do it at work occasionally. Is this the best way of doing this? Or can I rearrange to do this better? I mean, if you ask yourself that one question once in a while, you can make a change within yourself, which in my case will translate into something better for my entire detachment.
mm-hmm.
If I can do something better.
And how does anybody remember how we phrased that? You don't need to be sick to get, because that's what he just said, right? We said we're looking at things and we're saying you don't need to be sick to get better. How can I improve this process? How can I improve this system? How can I improve my situation? You don't need to be sick to get better. And that was one of the first things that we talked about, is working off the premise that you don't need to be sick to get better. That's right.
Well, I already addressed it though in saying that
Yeah, you did address it. You did address it. Okay, what's next now for you? I'd be interested to hear what now, because this is one thing we have to be absolutely clear on. And let me have everybody's eyes real quick on this, because it's really important that you hear this. How much did you pay for this program?
Our time.
0. Your time, but physical, you paid nothing. How much do you think you'd pay for 15 weeks of professional development? Of the depth and breadth that you've received and the fact that you will have access to it forever. How much do you think that would cost if you had to pay for that out of your own pocket? A couple thousand? At least. $2,700, $2,800. So here's, and I told you this from day one. So the jam for you is you have received more in value than you have given. And the agreement was that that would be based on the fact that we trusted that you would take yourself, your better equipped self, and go and do. That you would go and do. That you would go and improve the detachment. Or you would go and improve the municipality and its presence here in the community. Or you'd go and be a better community member and enhance the community. So somebody tell me what you plan to do. You don't have to give me necessarily a specific task or... What? Oh, we could talk about that as well. Or maybe some things that you've already started to do. But we have to be absolutely clear about why we did this. We did this because it was the belief of all of us that are involved that if we equip the people closest to the issues, then they are the best people to solve the issues. So that by equipping people who are on the ground, who are dealing with the problems every day, by enhancing their skills, that should translate into improvement. But the key to that working is that they actually go and do something, right? That's the key. So tell us or tell me what you have already started to work on or already doing, tangibly, intangibly, or maybe what you plan to do as the program winds down.
I plan on using what I've learned, putting towards a long-term care facility and some plans that are in town for my clients that I work with in nursing.
Wow. And is there something specifically you plan to do? Is there something that, what is that? If you don't mind. Is it? Will you send it?
When it works out, I'll let you know.
How about that? What do we all learn from this program? For it to work out, what do you got to do? Yeah, you got to trust. That's all right. So here's what you do. Here's what you're going to do, Sarah. You're going to send me an email, and just between me and you, you're going to tell me what it is. And why did we learn that we need to do that? Why does she need to tell another human being?
Because then she has it out there and she'll think, oh, I already told her.
Well, that person here already knows my plans somewhat.
So I don't.
But remember, Sarah, we can't, as a group, we can't support your plan if we don't know some part of it.
Well, when you're ready to tell
When you're ready to tell us. But for me and you, you'll send me a note, right? Okay. All right, somebody else. What's that thing that you plan to do, or maybe things that you already have done or doing that have already been a manifestation of this?
Go for it in the elbow. Well, Susan's good. Okay, I'm ready to tell for all we're
You guys are like sisters from another mister. I don't know what the story. You guys are like related. Somebody go.
We've already had a long discussion about our plan for Fort Chip Pride, and you're looking at the seedlings here.
Now, what is Fort Chip Pride? What is that?
That is people who don't necessarily have to live here, but people who are associated with Fort Chipewyan who want it to be better and want, as Tanya so eloquently put, not just having pride in the community, but like she said, we all have to start with it within ourselves. If we don't start with it within ourselves, it can't manifest itself inside of us.
Okay.
But we have like-minded people, and we've decided that we take all four stubborn women and decide that we're going to do something for our community. And we've decided that we are going to put our playground back where it should have been in the first place. Well, where it was in the first place, and suddenly disappeared and has not reappeared, so we're making it reappear.
I see a disturbance call in my future.
Now, and as an interested party, and I told you guys all the last time that from the first time that I came here, and you need to hear this, sir, the first time that I came here, I met the children of the community. And the children of the community touched my heart. The children of the community talking to me and sharing with me their hopes and their aspirations. And I knew that I had to come back. And we have come back on a number of occasions. So I told you what my commitment was and what our foundation's commitment is. That if you can muster up 150 people that will donate a minimum of $10,000 of playground equipment to that new playground. But you got to get 150 people off their big fat couch. You thought I was going to say something else. You got to get them off their. You got to get 150 people off their big fat couch and commit to being there on the day that we build that playground. Now you might do more than $10,000 worth of equipment, and if you raise money, then we'll match 50-50 whatever you raise. But you know you're going to get 10 grand of playground equipment, of playground equipment, 10 grand value, and then anything you raise beyond that, we'll match. Every 50 cents you raise will be like $1. You guys.
I have pictures of what we already have.
That's fine. That's fine.
And I have the manufacturer where it came from.
That's fine. And you guys know what you have to do. You have to put in that application, right?
Yes, and actually, we're in the process of just doing that.
It's not hard. Just fill it out to start the process.
Well, not having internet didn't help.
No, it's all right. It's all good.
Just to add to this, after the last session, the whole session we had on Community Pride, it made me realize that there's other areas in the community that need work.
This is just
Dory Lake.
yep, that's right.
I grew up here in Lake Shore most of my life, and that's our swimming hole. That's the only place that our kids can swim. And
It's atrocious.
the washrooms out there, there's holes in the walls. They're not usable. The change rooms are not usable. There's
The
broken
bar
picnic
pits are
tables, the pits. It's really in disrepair. So we decided that we're not going to stop at the playground. Our next project is going to be to fundraise to restore Dory Lake, because I think that restoring it and bringing a sense of community pride will allow everyone to enjoy it, and maybe they will stop vandalizing it. And
Yeah.
The broken window theory?
Yep. That we talked about.
We're
Yep.
gonna try that. After our playground, our next project is gonna be Dory Lake, and after that, well,
Who knows?
That's
so,
awesome.
So far, that's where we're at.
That's awesome. And prior to all that, just for some of you that are joining us, they made a decision to take care of an issue which we won't go into at the school. In the boys' bathroom, there was some issues of disrepair. And just so I have an update on that, where are we at with that process?
They're supposed to have a meeting tomorrow night.
Okay. What the resolution is going to be? But progress has been made. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. I'm glad. So I'm excited to hear about that. And you know, I'd like, Ross, what do you think about all that as a representative of the region?
Well, the 4 or 5 ladies here are, it's amazing what they're going to do in this community with the assistance of the other people in the group and the people of the community. Because as they pointed out, you can point your fingers all you want, but I mean, sooner or later, and it was Tanya who said 2 weeks, the last session, well, I can't do this. And it's not, Northlands or this, we just decided that, one, the bathrooms needed to be fixed, the rotunda needed to be painted, and a few other things. So, I mean, this is community pride, community ownership, and things are getting done now. And I think that'll grow.
And we were talking on the plane, the three of us were talking on the plane coming up here about leadership, a lot of dialogue around leadership development, and the various models that you can utilize. I don't care how you get a person to a place where they say, I will do. But you guys have now come to that place. You're at that place. I'm going to do it. And now, for me, the best part about all of this, is that this is the kind of leadership that communities need today. Because governmental budgets will go like this. Industries will go like this. But this sustains. Community members who say, the community is a direct reflection of me. And I will give of my time, talent, and treasure to go make it as best as I can. That is what sustains over a period of time. And unfortunately, and this is me saying this, not anybody else in the room or RMWB, my personal opinion is that is the only effective strategy to build a thriving community today. Engage citizenry, equip citizenry, and then get the heck out of citizenry's way. And let citizenry build, and let citizenry do. Governmental entities act as catalysts and conveners. Governmental entities create, through the duly elected officials, help create policy and direction and vision as the duly elected representatives of the people. Staff then takes that vision and direction and utilizes best practice to to help be the catalyst for the building of the thriving community. But ultimately, the only thing that sustains is what you're talking about now. The challenge you'll face, and one of the things that I did want to talk about tonight, and this is a nice launching point, the challenge is, how do you take and go to the next concentric circle? So you've got the four, mi amigos on fire here, right? You got not the three amigos, but the quadruple amigos on fire, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm going to speak very bluntly. How many of us have seen neighborhoods, communities, even organizations where 4 or 5 people get on fire? And then that lasts for about 18 to 24 months. And then those 4 or 5 people get burnt. And then it'll be this. Hey, remember we were going to clean up the lake? Yeah, I remember that. Whatever happened with that? How many of you have seen that? Okay, so really, really quickly, take out your notepads, and if you don't have something to write with, because you didn't bring your binder, somebody grab a piece of paper and give it to the ladies that didn't bring a binder. Quick, hurry. Just quick, because we don't have a lot of time. So how do I take, as a leader, titled or, sorry, Naomi. How do I take as a leader, titled or untitled leader now? And how do I grow to the next concentric circle? When we talked about being an agent of change, we talked about some of these key pieces. When we talked about systems thinking, we talked about some of these key pieces. And when we talked about being a catalyst for responsibility, we talked about some of these key pieces. But what I'm going to walk you through now is a very practical and simple step for engaging a community initiative, right? Practical and simple steps that don't cost money. Practical and simple steps. And as we talk through these sequences, you're going to say, oh, I remember when we talked about that. Oh, I see how that fits now. So let's bring it all together in our final little teaching discussion, and then we'll do certificates, and then we'll do your final assignment. Okay, so you've got 4 people on fire, right? You've got 4 people on fire, very, very quickly. 4 people on fire. And they're excited, and they're motivated, and they're energized, and their enthusiasm is infectious. The challenge is that most initial initiatives are driven by that charisma. They're initially driven by that charisma. The problem is that charisma can't sustain. Because people who come to it will only come based on that charisma, and you'll never get beyond your own stakeholder group. So the 4 of you have a sphere of influence that you operate in, but somehow for this thing to sustain, you have to go beyond that. So the first thing that I would suggest that needs to happen is a clarity of what exactly are we trying to accomplish. Clarity. Deep clarity. And if you remember, during Agent of Change, we talked about that vision drives change. That not hows, but whys drive change. So we're not talking about how we're going to clean up the lake. We're talking about why we're going to clean up the lake. And we talked about, get me on the board over there, Mr. James. We talked about impact language. How many remember us talking about that? You have to be able to clarify the impact of a situation. And this is, look, the notes are here from last time. Remember we said that all change, if you really want to implement change, you want to do it in a profound and significant way, then you have to be able to explain the why to somebody. Why? And remember we said there was 5 reactions to change, right? The early riser, the early adapter, the crowd, remember sheep, people, they go this way or that. Then you have the legitimizer, that's the person who asks all the questions because they speak for the crowd, and then the resistor. So the 4 of you now have got to come together and start to clarify the why. Don't worry about the how. Not how are we going to clean up the bathroom, not how are we going to get to the playground, just why. And we have to be able to articulate the impact of that. And what kind of filters, communication filters, do we have to be able to communicate it through? What were the 4 communication filters that we know are out there in the group? Who remembers? It's like a test. Remember there was 4 kinds of communication styles. What were they? Emotion, that's right. Emotion-based communicators. What else? Come on, what else? Fact-based communicators. What else? We got emotion-based communicators, fact-based communicators. Belief-based communicators. And what was the last one? Starts with a V. Values-based communicators. So here's the challenge for you. The four of you on fire, any of us, we've got this thing in our heart. We got this thing in our gut. We got this thing that we know needs to be fixed or changed. Somehow, though, I've got to be able to grow it from my group. So this is what I would do personally, and this is what we've done hundreds of times. Right? Always remember, 7 things no one's ever done before we've been able to pull off. 7 specific things. So how did you do that? We did it just like this. For the next month, once you've clarified amongst your group that thing, playground, clean up the lake, whatever, you're going to casually bring that up to people in the community. Just casually. Bring it up. And you're going to talk about it to people. Just talk about it to people. Talk about it to people. Talk about it to people. And people are going to do one of 2 things. And this is how I would suggest that it goes. Hey, Ross, how are you, man? Good to see you. We're over here getting a Cinnabon from, what's the guy's store?
Chatties.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
Archie's.
Archie's. We're at Archie's, and we're getting him one of his cool Cinnabons that probably put 400 pounds on me, but I love him. And we're at Archie's there, and hey, Ross, how are you doing? Hey, you know, it's this time of the year again in the swimming hole, and I really think we should clean that up. Because if we cleaned it up, everybody would want to, and so on, and I talk about it. And all I'm doing is reading his body language. If he goes like this, yeah, who won the hockey game? Then you know what? Hold on, whoa. Watch, listen now, please. That would tell me, remember buy-in? What were the 3 keys to buy-in? What were the 3 keys to buy-in? Relevant, impact, quality. So I know right away it's not relevant to him. But now I come to her, I talk with her, and her body language goes like this, goes from this to, yeah, you know what, you're right. Yeah, you know, we do need to do something about that. So what I would do for the next 3 weeks, the 4 of you, whatever that thing is, you're going and talking to people. And then every week you come back together, and you've got your list of people who showed you that positive body language. They showed you that they were open to it. You didn't explain the how to them. All you did was cast the vision that this thing, this why, needs to get handled. And they showed you some kind of intentional, whether body language or they vocalized, hey, I'm down for that. But it's casual. No commitments, just I got this thing in my gut. I got to do something with it. What do you think? Now, in marketing terms and in community development terms, that's just a simple market survey. We're just doing a simple, very organic market survey. But by the time you get to the end of the 3-week period, you will have a list about this long of all of the people who showed you they had an interest. So now what you're going to do is circle back to them. But in addition to that 3 weeks, during that 3 weeks, in addition to that exercise, underneath that exercise, you're going to go to the University of Google. How many of you remember the University of Google? Right? We're going to go to the University of Google. And what are we going to do? What do you think we're going to do at the University of Google for 15 minutes a day for that 3 weeks? What are we going to do 15 minutes a day for that 3 weeks on the University of Google? What do you think? Based on what we've talked about in the past. What do you got to do with yourself? No. What do you got to do? You got to get more. Remember the process of changing. We're willing, but then we got to go get some knowledge, education. So while you're out there casting the vision, you're going and equipping yourself 15 minutes a day. Maybe you're typing into Google, rural initiatives, how to start a rural initiative, or impact of recreation and play in rural communities, or using recreation and play as a diversion from drug use, or using recreation and play to increase graduation rates. Remember, to be able to speak impact language, you got to go get knowledge, right? Okay, so now you've got your list. So you've informally gone throughout the community. You've identified people that might have an interest. But at the same time, you've gone and gotten knowledge. Remember, good-hearted, well-meaning people screw things up every day. It is not enough to be a good-hearted, well-meaning person. And ladies, I love you to death. But guess what? If I come back here from a year and you're still talking about what you can do, then you haven't done jack. So that means between now and then, you have to go get equipped. Remember, Einstein said, everything within me was only enough to get me where I'm at today. If I want to go any further, if I want to be any better, something's going to have to change, which means you've got to go get more knowledge. And that would be true for any of us in the room that want to go and do something. We got to go get more knowledge. So while you're going and doing that little market survey of who might have an interest, I'm also acquiring more knowledge. At the end of that term, I now should have more knowledge than I had at the beginning. I should be able to speak to the best practices across the country or across the world. I should be able to speak to the communities that have done it and it's worked. I should be able to speak to some of the things that need to be done for my thing to be effective. Because now I'm going to circle back. I'm going to circle back to that list that showed an interest. And now the conversation is going to be something like this. Hey, Ross, how you doing? You should stay away from those Archie Cinnabons, but that's okay. Anyway, we're role-playing now. So, now follow me. Follow me. Hey, remember we were talking about the swimming hole? Yeah, I remember that. You know, I've been doing some research. And what I found out was so and such and so and such. And what I've learned is this and that and that and this. And this is the question. So, we're all getting together. We're all getting together. And we're all going to talk about what we might do about this because based on what we've learned. And I've got her, and I've got him, and I've got her, and I've got him. They're all coming to my house, or they're all coming to my work, or they're all coming to wherever. We're all coming together. If you want, we'd love to have you there.
And I think I'll come because it interests me.
Perhaps. But let's say, well, let me back up for a second. Why do you think I'm casually laying out that to him?
He doesn't have to make a commitment.
No commitment. What else? What else? No commitment. What else?
He's also feeling invited.
Feeling invited. What else? Well, two things. Hopefully he's hearing that I'm not just whining and complaining that the world will not bend to my will. Hopefully he's hearing that I intend action because I went and did some research. Hopefully I'm building credibility with him because he sees that I have some knowledge. That's called leadership, right? I went and learned about it. I'm sharing it with you. Are you in? If he shows up to the meeting, what does it tell me about him?
He's of like mind.
One, he's of like mind and like heart. What else can it tell me about him? What else does it tell me about him? Probably going to be a resource. And how about this, guys? He is, and write this down, he's a self-selected early adapter. I didn't have to twist his arm. I didn't have to beg him. I didn't have to shout at him. I didn't have to threaten him. I didn't have to tell him that I would tell all the secrets about him in town. He showed up. And look at the thresholds, and this is really important. Look at the thresholds I made him jump through to show up. Initial interest, he bought in. I then came back to him with some more clarity and brought it a little bit closer to the ground, and he bought in enough that he showed up. Two major hurdles. I vetted him. That would be the technical term. I vetted his commitment. I vetted his interest. I vetted. Now, will that guarantee that he'll be a resource for me? No. But I've got a greater likelihood. How do we normally do it? Walk me through how we normally do it. Okay, we put up signs around town and say what?
Having a meeting, show up.
Having a meeting, show up. And what does that produce?
Usually a mess and not much of anything. It's just exercise and futility.
So although it took me an additional 6 weeks to roll this out, I know that the people who are sitting in the room had to jump through 2 hoops to get to the room. And I know that we're probably of like mind or like interest because I gave them big picture information that resonated. I brought it down a little bit more with some more tangible information and factually based information, and it became more compelling to them, and they showed up. Now, typically what happens is that all of us will look around and say this, oh, but so-and-so's not here, and such isn't here. Listen to me. Don't worry about who's not in the room. Write this down. Small groups of people, properly motivated, focused on a common goal, not caring who gets the credit, always change the world. Small groups of people, properly motivated, focused on a common goal, not caring who gets the credit, always change the world. Small groups of people, properly motivated, focused on a common goal, not caring who gets the credit, always change the world. I don't believe that, Ian. Okay, do an exploration of history, number one. I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box, but I have done an exploration of history. And I know this, it's never large groups of people who are only focused on their own self-interest, who could give a damn about anybody else. They never change the world. So, a small group of people have to go to the next concentric circle. The next concentric circle is doing that little market survey, doing your own research, casting the vision, see who shows up. Now, we'll wrap up here in just a moment. So then what's next? Now you've got a core group that are united around a like vision, the why, and they would like to talk about some solutions. The challenge in that first conversation, those first conversations is, if the cement is too wet, metaphorically speaking, if the cement is too wet, they'll run around and mess it all up. If the cement is too dry and they can't write their name in it, then they'll figure they're just rubber stamping what you're doing and they don't want to be a part. Does that make sense? So, you have to have the vision somewhat solidified. That's the why. But you have to be willing and be open to their hows and how they want to do it, so they feel like they're a part of the conversation. They feel like they're part of the initiative. So, once you have that group together, you've got a like mind, you know you've vetted them, now it's ready to take it out to the community. When you do take it out to the community, you're looking for those 4 communication styles that we're talking about. You got to be able to communicate it emotionally, you got to be able to communicate the facts of the impact, values, and beliefs, which you can go and revisit the materials that we've talked about before. And then how are we going to utilize, or how are we going to deploy that? Remember when we talked about the relational marketing strategy, right? Remember we talked about making a list of all of the people of influence in the community, color coding them red, yellow, and green, and then we're going to have those chats. Who can remind some of the keys to a chat? Anybody remember? 80% of the listening, 20% of the talking. Remember the key aspects of the chat, developing our key messages. So that when I go and talk to the person of influence, I'm doing 80% of the listening, 20% of the talking. Who remembers all that dialogue and discussion? Remember, that was 4 days of that. 4 days of emails of that. So go back and revisit that. So those simple steps is what I would do. How much money would that cost? How much? To sit down and go and talk to people would cost some money? Oh, feed you, yeah. So it would cost very little, right? It costs nothing. Yeah, and here's the piece, that the nuance that I would recommend. You're chronicling all of that. Who showed me interest? Who didn't show me interest? What happens to be the skill sets of those people that showed interest? So I start to really understand the skill sets that I'll have on the team. And then the people who showed up. What's the skill sets? Who are they connected to? Because remember when we talked about that sphere of influence, I'm expanding my sphere of influence, intentionally and strategically expanding my sphere of influence. So you've got a belly, you've got a fire in your belly, you're energized, you're excited. That will quickly die if you don't take some kind of strategic steps, intentional steps to go to the next concentric circle. I don't like your approach. Great, I don't care. I can give a rip if you like my approach. Get one. Otherwise, all of this good-hearted, well-meaning talk of enthusiasm a year from now, it'll be crap. Not because I don't love you. I'm saying it because I do love you. Right? I'm being direct with you because I do love you. All right. Any other comments or questions about that? Any questions about that?
Just a statement.
Go ahead.
2 statements. Well, number 1, we're going to prove you wrong. Okay, fix what we said. The other thing is, hopefully he'll soon give you your certificates. I don't know. We'll probably do it. This is from all of us. It's not anything spectacular.
It's a city bunch.
If I had known, I would have bought him a whole box. But this is just a thank you from us for everything, the tools you've given us, the hope, because you do inspire hope.
Thank you.
You've told us that we have the ability. We sort of already knew we had it, but it's nice to get confirmation from somebody else and that little bit of validation. And you have given, I know personally me, and I know at least 4 other ladies that you've given it to, and I'm sure there's other people in the room. And we're very, very thankful.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And, okay, so what we're going to do now, and don't run yet. You got to watch this. Don't leave yet. Okay, final assignment. So here's the drill. This is the final assignment. So I'm giving each one of you money. Money. Because how many of you would agree with me that talk is cheap? Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. No, we all get money. Just, it's the final assignment. Quiet down, Sergeant. You'll do as you're told. Just happened to be the way it rolled. I just walked it around. Now listen, here's the drill. The drill is over a 13-and-a-half-week period, almost coming up on 15 weeks. You've been equipped to be leaders. Raise your hand if there's something in the community that breaks your heart. Okay? Something that pains you or interests you or compels you. And we always talk about what could I do about it? What would I do about it? What could I do about it? Well, for 13-and-a-half weeks, we've tried to equip you to do something about it. And now my wife and I, not the regional municipality, now my wife and I are giving you money to do something about it. What? So here's the task. You have 7 days to grow that money. You have 7 days to take that money and buy something and sell it. You have 7 days to take it. Hold on. Don't give your money away yet. Listen now. Listen. Don't give you guys. Listen to the instructions. So you have 7 days. You have 7 days between now and, well, I guess it's more than that. You have between now and next Friday to take that money and do something with it. You can't just take it and give it to somebody else. Unless, of course, you're going to take it and give it to somebody else, and together you're going to do something with it. Because your challenge is to grow it. Well, how come some people got 20 and somebody else got 50? I don't get it. Because life's not fair. Life's not fair. My talents and skills and abilities are not your talents and skills and abilities, and yours are not mine. I got what I was given, and I've got to do something with it. Now, this isn't the first time we've done this, and it won't be the last. I'll give you an example of Boot Camp 1. Some people got $5, some people got 10, some people got 20, right? Like in your specific instance, Ross, how much money were you given?
I got $20 in 9 days. I raised $620.
So he took his $20 and engaged and raised $620. I will tell you, go ahead.
$300 is going to 4 youth that are going to God. And so 4 into 300 is $75. And each of them, or them, the 4 of them collectively, are going to do something special for the school.
In Ghana.
In Ghana.
Yeah.
And the other $300 is going to support something else.
So leadership is about doing. Everything that I've tried to and we have tried to impart to you will be made up in this exercise. You're going to have to engage other people. You're going to have creative thinking. Remember, we physically taught you how to come up with a great idea. We taught you the thinking sequence to coming up with a creative idea. You're going to have to be creative. Now, some people that have been given this money have taken it and bought something. Maybe they bought, water and then they sold the water. And then they took that and they bought something else and they sold more. Others have taken it and bought materials and made something and then sold that. Or others have pooled their money and they've done an event or an activity. The most I've ever seen raised from the $20 that I've given, $33,000. That's the truth. A lady named Colleen Edwards. Now, I will say this, the Trump Corporation got involved and that's how it got to $33,000. But because Trump, what her thing was, she wanted to help kids that didn't have breakfast in the mornings. And so she engaged some ladies that she knew. And one of those ladies worked for a company that was a subsidiary of Trump. It worked its way up the chain of command. And a 40-foot transport trailer of non-perishable food items for kids for breakfast showed up in 2 weeks. So I don't know what you're going to do. But I know this. I know that you're going to be judged on what you do. Because it's kind of like life. Every one of you in this room has talent. Every one of you in this room has ability. Every one of you in this room has opportunity. But what will you do with that time, talent, and opportunity? Will you stand idly by and watch as others, their lives go to the crap hole? Or will you stand up and say, nope, I'm going to try to do what I can to handle my little corner? The rules are pretty simple. I and my wife and I gave you money. You told me you have something that breaks your heart. Now go make it better. You might not raise $33,000, but I know this. Can you take your 20 and make it 20 more? Because that would be doubling. If you can do that, you're a leader. Now, we've had situations where people did nothing with their money, and that's fine. Well, do we have to report? Nope. Nope. I'm not going to ask you what you did with your money. Well, why not? Why isn't there some accountability? Well, there is. You're conscious. There's accountability. I'm not going to ever ask you what you did with your money. I will tell you a funny story of a kid that we gave money to. He got $5. 6 months after the activity, he emailed me, Mr. Hill, I have to tell you the truth. I took your $5, and after school that day, I bought Smarties. And I ate the Smarties, he said. He said, for the last 6 months, I felt guilty about the $5 that I used to buy Smarties, and I ate your Smarties. So last night, listen to this. This is what he said. So last night, I took $5 out of my mom's purse. And I've begun a campaign to raise money for the SPCA. I'll let you know how it goes. A week later, he wrote me back and said, I've raised $100 and I'm donating it to the SPCA. Now, I didn't email him back and say, well, you stole $5 from your mom. See that? But I will tell you this. I will tell you that I think the most powerful part of it is I don't come and track you down and find out what you did. You might email me, and that's fine. And if you want to tell me what happened, that's great too. But I've tried to make this, and we've tried to make this a very personal journey between you and us. Nobody else outside of this room. So you know that the money that's sitting in front of you is from me. And that's $20 that Nia and Nadia didn't get. And I want you to go do something with it. And you'll take the growth and you'll donate it to something that breaks your heart. Or you'll donate it to somebody that can do something with it. Questions about the exercise. What questions do you have about the exercise? What's the point of the exercise? Why is this the final exercise? Why do you think it's the final exercise? What does it hope to teach? It is a challenge, for sure. It's in your face. It's a real challenge.
Take the tools I gave you and go use them.
That's right. All right, somebody else. What's the point of the exercise?
Not be selfish.
Yep. 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 How many of you agree with me, for some of you, this exercise may not have come at a convenient time? That's the challenge. That's the challenge. You know, yes, Ian, this would be great, except I'm swamped at work right now. Or, yes, Ian, this would be great, but I'm buried in my situation right now. Or, yes, Ian, this would be great, but, you know, we were planning on going holidays when the school got out, and so I have to get ready for that. How many of you would agree with me that opportunities in life don't work around your timing? Opportunities in business don't always work around your timing. Opportunities to make a difference in a human being's life don't always work around your timing. Opportunities to make your organization better don't always work within your timing. We will fix that when we have more time. We will take care of that process when we have more time. We'll take care of those bathrooms down at the shore when we have more money and more time. And how many agree with me those things never get done?
There's a great person once said, there's never time when you need time.
True. Excellent. So, I know that this may not be convenient for you. So, whether you take it and go rally friends, or you take it and buy a product and sell it, or you take it and you buy some materials and make something and sell that, or you pool your money and have some kind of activity or event. All I know is this. Next Friday is the day of reckoning. You will either have grown the money or not. And I do think that that is an indication of what you took from this program. Not how much you grow it. That's not what I'm talking about. But what you decide to do with what you've been given. I would hope so. Any other comments or clarity or questions that you might have about the exercise? Okay, the only other thing is, all of you that turned in a one thing, I'll be following up with you and your one commitment. Just so all of you know, each participant was asked to make a commitment of what they would change, personal, or within their community, or what are you going to change? and then that's a written commitment that they turn in. So I'll be following up with you to see how that's going. As far as the playground goes, you guys know what you need to do. We stand ready to support you, but we're not going to do it for you, right? If you can rally 150 team members in the community, then we're in. Okay, in a second we're going to hand out these certificates. When we do, we're going to ask you to come up. We're going to hey, you guys can chitty chat later. We're going to ask you to come up so that we can shake your hands. We're going to have that on film, and then we'll get each one of you a picture of you getting your certificate. To help me with that is going to be Ross, representing the municipality. And Ross, on behalf of the municipality, you have some things that you might want to share or say?
Yeah. Brian Mackey, the deputy CAO, is going to come tonight, and Sadir. They're a little busy at council tonight because we have a few issues called fun. And Joanne, our director, is also dealing with emergency management. So, I mean, that's a crisis that's happening right now. So, you have me.
The Ross.
The Ross. You know, and these two ladies work for Sadir, and we always like to bring up new people who start with us to show them around, to introduce them to people, community, pride. And so we wanted to make sure that they were able to come here just to see leadership, see people in action, and see how things work. So we have some certificates.
We do. Now, and we're going to, Ross.
What?
Where do you want to do it? Okay, we'll do it right over here. And Ross is going to read your name, the certificate. Come on up, and so we can get you on film, and then you can go ahead and have a seat.
Okay, Sarah Newman.
Sarah Newman. There you go. There you go. Look over there so we get you. Okay.
Good.
Awesome. Okay.
Tamara. We're going around the room.
There you go.
Thank you.
Handshake.
Thank you.
Yeah. Handshake.
Oh. Good.
Okay. Awesome.
Doreen.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll take a look over there.
Yep.
And hold on, don't walk away. Let's give her an extra round of applause for two things. One, she always had the handouts ready, right? She always had handouts for everybody, and for always organizing all the other accoutrements that we needed from the videos to everything like that, right?
How about organizing the food?
Yeah, exactly.
Tanya.
Yes. Woo!
Thanks, Tanya.
Good job. Good job.
Lori.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Whoop.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Good job.
Megan.
Round of applause for Megan.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job, Megan.
All right.
Sally.
Thank you for always picking us up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
And thank you for getting the pictures of the school.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And Rod.
Come on, Sergeant! Woo! Been a pleasure, my friend.
Now, Rod, because you're a very special man, somehow there are 2 certificates
No,
here
Wiz.
for you. We didn't set this up. Mark her down.
Get this guy. Look over there. Hold on.
Well, I did look over there.
All right, buddy. All right. How many, hey, all I have to say is this. How many of you remember the first night that this guy walked in the door? And how many of you, I was like, who is this guy? Remember that?
Yep.
Wow.
People remember me.
There is no doubt about that, my friend. No doubt about it.
Dana. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Lisa. Hey. Thanks, Lisa.
If, James, if you would, if you weren't here tonight, we'll email you your certificate and you can just print it out. Remember that there's certificates of participation and there's certificates of completion. And the defining, we looked at all of the emails, we looked at all of the assignments, but the defining point between completion and participation had to do with you turning in your one thing. And if you turned in your one thing, that was an overriding step of maybe you not being here. So some of you that haven't been able to attend or only were able to attend 1 or 2, but you turned in your one thing, then that was certainly a strong point to you completing the program. Okay, so here's what's going to happen moving forward. So moving forward, Monday there'll be an email like there always is, right? And then next Friday I'll have a final thought for you that you'll receive via email. As far as your assignments go, I'll follow up with your one thing and ask you how that's coming along, check in with you. The portal, the learning portal. Because life is busy and life is hectic, right? That learning portal, our commitment to the regional municipality is that it will be in place and maintained into perpetuity, forever. In addition to that, as Boot Camp 1 participants are finding, every once in a while we'll send out more stuff. Every once in a while, there'll be an online program available. They're always available to you. And then we'll do some live trainings and things of that nature because we want to continue to support you. So in the coming months, you'll find that you'll get an email saying, hey, just want you to know, online session on this day at this time under this subject matter. You're more than welcome to participate in that, and you're more than welcome to have others participate in that. In addition, other people could still sign up to participate in the online version. So if you have employees in your organization, or you have community members in your community-based organization, or you have members at your place of faith, they need a training program. If you have youth, then they can always go on to that remember username, how you created your first username? You just go in there, create a username, and then they can go in and take advantage. So there's no reason for anyone to ever say that they don't have access to training, leadership training, or organizational leadership training in Fort Chip. Because it was shot in Fort Chip, the discussion and dialogue was about Fort Chip, so that's a community asset that you should continue to utilize into the future. Two final thoughts. One, I think it is an incredible testament to the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo and its leadership that they would provide this kind of a program. If you feel the same way, then you need to tell somebody. Not for me. Don't write in and say, oh, Ian was the best. The Chubby Brown Man was great. Don't say that. Because you know what? Guess what? You guys know by now, my ego's big enough that I don't need to hear any of that. I got a big enough ego for all that. However, there were some leaders that had to make a decision that they will be held accountable for. And they need to know whether this decision was worth it or not. And that's from the mayor to the CAO, Glenn, or Brian, or Joanne, or Sadir. They need to know. So if this was of value to you, and if this had something brought something of value to you, then you tell them that. You don't need to say anything about me. But if this made an impact on you, then tell them. Because what we were trying to prove, I told you from the beginning, we were trying to create a regional municipality that would be a shining light of hope to governments and communities across Canada and beyond, of what can happen when a governmental entity invests in its people. Not just certain people, but all people, and made the opportunity free and available to many. And that's what they've done here. So if you believe in that and you think it was of value, tell someone, whether it's the mayor, whether it's Glenn, the CAO, or others. Let someone know. Just go to their email, send them an email. Final thought. If I can ever help you in any way, if there's ever anything that I can do for you, you know how to get a hold of me. Hopefully, we're going to be able to support you in this playground. I hope so, but you're going to have to do some things. I'm not just going to give you because that doesn't teach you anything. But we're ready and able to support you. I would love in September to build a playground in Fort Chip. There'd nothing be better than that. And if you want to see what that's like, go to the Let Them Be Kids website and watch this weekend or watch next weekend, and you'll see thousands of citizens across Canada doing that. We just did one last week in Newfoundland. 800. Oh, yeah, there's the movie. That's right. That's right. I gave you a copy of the movie. Watch the movie. So I would love to do that in Fort Chip. I would love to, but we're not going to do it for you. Not going to do it for you. You have talent. You have ability. I've come to know you, and you are special people. And I'm a better man for 13 and a half weeks and multiple times coming and spending time of my life with you. So thank you for that gift. Have a great evening, and we'll be hanging around for a few minutes. And if we can ever help you, just let us know. Okay? Thank you for your time.